worship with South Norwood Baptist Church. My name is Debbie. Great to have you with us. Please enjoy our service today.
We are here to sing your praises, Jesus Christ, you alive. We are here to bring you glory, Jesus Christ, giver of life. We are here to sing your praises, Jesus Christ, giver of life. We are here to glory, Jesus Christ, giver of life. Lifting up our hands, voices to you. Set our feet are dancing before you, Lord. For your love is better than life itself. You are the giver of life. We are here to sing your praises, Jesus Christ, giver of life. We are here to bring you glory, Jesus Christ, giver of life. Giving all we got to worship you.
one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. "How do you read it?" He answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." "You have answered correctly," Jesus replied. "Do this, and you will live." But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after them,' he said, 'and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have.' Which of these 3 do you think as a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers?" The expert in the law replied, "The one who had mercy on him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise."
Hello, my name's Helen. I'm the Reverend Helen Stokely. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and the Deputy Head of Institute at Spurgeon's College, and I'm a Baptist minister. And for the next couple of minutes, I invite you to reflect with me on that very famous passage in Luke 10, the parable of the Good Samaritan. I'm sure you know the story. The expert of the law is trying to trip Jesus up and asking him, "Who is my neighbour?" And what I love about this passage is that when Jesus is asked such a question, he responds with a story, a practical example, something that the original hearers would have been able to connect with, would have understood, and would have been able to follow as an example that they should follow. And even though that's thousands of years later, I think that parable of the Good Samaritan is an important example for us to reflect on. You see, you have a man lying at the edge of the road, half dead, beaten, been through an awful ordeal. A man who has maybe had, his eyes open and watched the feet of the priest and the Levite as they walked past him, heard the footsteps on the pavement, and mourned internally as the footsteps dimmed and the persons got further away as they left him there in desperation. And then to his surprise, as that man lay there wondering what is going to happen next, another set of footsteps comes along, louder and nearer to the position. And I imagine that man looked up and he saw the Samaritan, and the Samaritan took pity on him. He put him on his cattle, which meant he, the Samaritan, had to walk himself as he took the man to somewhere to rest and recuperate. And that man experienced the love, the practical help and the restoration of the Samaritan. And you see, I think that Samaritan is a great example for us. I don't know what he was doing that day. I imagine that he was happily walking along that road, off the way to, Jericho, to Jerusalem. And there, all of a sudden, he sees this man. But he allows this man to interrupt his day. He may have been busy, he may have had a goal or a task to complete, but he stops what he's doing. He looks and he cares and he helps. And then not only does he stop, he ends up going in probably a completely different direction so that he can drop this man off at a hostel to give him the care that he needs. And that really struck me. You see, how often are we busy We're driving, we've got to get somewhere, picking children up from school, going shopping. We want to get home. We've got something to watch on the telly. We're trying to work. How busy are you? Do you actually open your eyes to be able to see what's going on around you? Do you take time to allow God to disrupt your day if someone needs help? And I think it's a real challenge to us. You see, when we're busy, when we're living our days, what do we do when we see someone in need? Do we put our head down, scurry on by and carry on? Do we just ignore it completely? Are we so busy and self-absorbed that we don't even notice? You see, I think what Jesus is saying in the very simplest form is that we have been called to be his hands and his feet on this earth. We have been called to allow the interruptions into our lives. And we have been called to share what we have by the grace of God with those that are in need. So as you go about your days this coming week, as you're busy with your work or friends or family, or even in the quiet, as you watch telly or you're at home alone, I invite you to allow God to interrupt your life. I invite you to say to God each morning, Lord, I want to be your hands and feet. Help me to know how I can help others today. And I invite you just to be open to share what God has given you. So that if that question comes, if that neighbour needs help, you'll be there ready and waiting, willing to help that person. Because you see, we need to remember that it's only by the grace of God that we are not there, the one that needs help. And I might be saying this to you, and you might be watching this and thinking, I'm the person that needs help. And if that is you, I would encourage you to talk to people, to tell them. And I hope that your church family, having listened to this, will be open to hearing your needs. So life is busy, lots of different things to do. But I pray that by the Holy Spirit, you'll remember the parable of the Good Samaritan, and that you allow your days to be interrupted, your hands and your feet to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and that you will allow your heart to have the compassion for all those that you meet, as we are called to love our neighbours. Thank you.
Beauty that made this heart
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like further information, then please get in touch and please subscribe to this channel. God bless in the meantime.